Well, there's a disturbing story we're following where a mother and a grandmother have been arrested in the death of a 13-year-old girl who was reportedly being held inside a cage. Tempe police say officers went to the home of Virginia Lujan after she reported her 13-year-old granddaughter wasn't breathing. The teen died at the hospital. Doctors say she was covered in bruises and sores, and the grandma claims that the teenage girl fell down the stairs on Sunday night. But detectives served a search warrant and say they found a makeshift cage where the grandmother and the girl's mother, Jamie Hodges, admitted they would occasionally keep her there. Both the mom and the grandma now face felony charges.
We're also learning more tonight about two major busts in southern Arizona, but the smugglers weren't transporting drugs. Instead, thousands of bullets.
We have seen more and more of this lately, and on Friday, Pinal County sheriffs, they made their first bust on Interstate 10 near Eloy, thousands of rifle rounds for AK-47s. Later that same day, Cochise County Sheriff's deputies found 10,000 50 caliber rifle rounds. 3 of the suspects are migrants who have requested asylum. Nearly 30,000 rifle rounds seized in southern Arizona.
These people were arrested. It took a lot of work.
It all started Friday. In the back of a pickup pulled over on I-10 outside of Eloy, they found close to 20,000 rounds of rifle ammo. The same caliber chambered for AK-47 rifles. The bust led to another tip in Cochise County. That's where sheriff's deputies found an SUV at a Motel 6 parking lot. Stuffed inside 10,000 50 caliber rifle rounds, heavy ordnance, usually created for the military.
Get it!
Pinal County Sheriff Ross Teeple sent Fox 10 this statement, pointing to Mexican cartels. Quote, "The violence of the cartels has held that country hostage." 3 of the 4 suspects were migrants who had applied for asylum in the U.S. 1 from Cuba, 2 others from destinations unknown.
But one thing for sure is that U.S. ammunition is a massively sought commodity in Mexico. It is priceless.
Retired ATF Special Agent in Charge and current ASU faculty Bernard Zaper says the busts have the hallmarks of cartels.
There's a couple things that are very interesting about this. The way that it was being transported, it wasn't concealed from the photographs of the arrests. It was very blatantly just stored in an SUV, which indicates to me that they probably had the crossing into Mexico completely arranged. That's the only reason why cartels exist, is because our demand for cocaine and fentanyl and human trafficking and all these other horrible things, that's where they thrive. In order to thrive, they have to be armed and violent. And having the firearms is one thing, but you have to have a steady supply of quality ammunition.
Now, Zaper says the president's order designating cartels as terrorist organizations will escalate the violence tenfold. And sending or using the military to fight them has a long history going back to when President Vicente Fox was running Mexico, resulting in many deaths, including civilians. We've reached out to ATF and Homeland Security about the suspects and about this case, but they have told us they will not comment on an active investigation. New details tonight about that rideshare passenger charged with murder, accused of killing her elderly rideshare driver. She allegedly ran him over repeatedly. It's a story we first told you about last night on Fox 10, and now court documents reveal much more about the case.
Yeah, police say the 31-year-old passenger ran over her driver, as John said, with the car, his car. And Fox 10's Lindsay Regas joins us live now with more of the story. This is just wild.
Yeah, John and Christina, we know the driver and passenger got into an argument, so they both stepped outside of the vehicle. Then the passenger got back inside the vehicle, but this time in the driver's seat.
31-year-old Jordan Spalding faces second-degree murder charges. In her first court appearance, the judge set her secured appearance bond at $1 million.
$1 million? Yes. Why would it be $1 million? I read Do you really want to have this conversation right now?
Yes, I do.
Phoenix police say Tuesday evening, 74-year-old Samuel Webster was giving Spalding a ride. At some point, they both got out of the car near 40th Street and Baseline Road. From there, police say Spalding got into the driver's seat and ran over Webster several times, killing him.
I read the probable cause statement, and what I read was very, very terrible, and I feel like you are a danger to the community. That's why it's $1 million.
It's $1 million.
Secured appearance, 10% of $1 million.
You feel like I'm a danger to the society?
So I'm not going to argue with you. I answered your question.
But they did a rape kit on me.
According to court documents, Spalding claimed Webster tried to rape her. However, police say there was no evidence of an attack found at the scene. Spalding told investigators she was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and admitted to using fentanyl.
I would caution you to stop talking at this point in time. This is recorded. Anything that you say here can be used against you.
Aside from warning Spalding to stop talking, the judge also brought up 2 prior cases, a warrant out of East Mesa Justice Court and a violation of probation. However, Spalding remained fixated on her bond amount.
$1 million. That sounds crazy.
Yeah, and as Spalding was escorted out, you could hear her repeat over and over, who has $1 million? You could also hear her say she has a job and kids. Now, Veo, the company Webster drove for, says their sympathy goes out to Webster's family and that they are unable to share any information about this case. Reporting live, Lindsay Regis, Fox 10 News.
The man charged with spraying bug spray on food at a Mesa grocery store has been indicted by a grand jury. Maricopa County attorney making the announcement this morning. Police say Charles Smith was arrested back in December of last year after he recorded himself inside the store spraying chemicals on produce. He then uploaded the videos to his social media account where he posted similar types of what he called prank videos. Those videos have since been deleted. Smith later told investigators he decided to turn himself in after he saw comments about the video about how horrible the act was. Among the charges he faces, multiple counts of poisoning and felony burglary.
Man is sentenced to more than 2 decades behind bars for driving drunk and killing 3 GCU students in a wrong-way crash. It happened on the I-17 back in 2022. The victims' families, they were in court today, and they spoke about how their lives have been shattered. Fox 10's Nicole Christine is live tonight with more. Nicole.
Well, good evening, Ellen. Yeah, their lives have definitely been shattered. A lot of tears shed for those lost girls today. And they say overall, these families, their main message is that the sentence that Vincent Acosta got today is not enough.
Vincent, when you killed my daughter, a part of me that day died too.
One by one, loved ones stood up and spoke to the man who killed 3 GCU freshmen in a wrong-way crash in 2022. The family of Aubriana Hoffman taking time to flip through photos of her as they describe the hole left in their lives.
Our family is heartbroken, to say the least. Every day we are reminded of her absence. Celebrations, holidays, even simply family gatherings are just never going to be the same.
The family of Hunter Balberti sharing their anger at Acosta's 22-year sentence.
You stole my daughter from me, and yet you and your family have a goal post. A date to look forward to when you'll be reunited again. I was reunited with Hunter when she arrived on Maui by plane in a box in cargo.
And the family of Maggie Ogden sharing frustration with the amount of time it took to get to this day.
829 days is not the right to a speedy trial. That's not speedy.
The original sentencing date in September 2024 was postponed when Judge Pamela Dunn disagreed with the sentencing range of 18 to 22 years listed in Acosta's plea agreement.
This court is not comfortable going forward with that sentencing range. So I'm rejecting the agreements in paragraph 2. And because I am rejecting that agreement, I'm recusing.
Maggie Ogden's mom, Samantha, argues that the state of Arizona still has work to do before justice is fully felt in this case. She argues the state should have wrong-way tire spikes in place to prevent these types of incidents.
He never should have made it on that road, and he certainly shouldn't have driven for 15 miles. something should have stopped him. If we can install jaws in front of a rental car agency as I left the airport last night to keep me from taking a car, how can we not have something that keeps him from getting on the road?
The Ogdens saying closure still feels out of reach for these families.
I believe the state of Arizona, Maricopa County, and our judicial system has failed these girls. The reality is we'll never have that closure until we get to reunite with Meg, Abe, and Hunter in heaven.
And Acosta's lawyers did bring up today that he feels a lot of remorse in this case, but the families of the girls say they have yet to see any of that remorse when they've seen him in a courtroom. And Ellen, you did mention he was driving drunk the morning that this happened. His blood alcohol level was 0.129. Reporting live tonight in downtown Phoenix, Nicole Christine, Fox 10 News.